All right, it is time to begin the meeting. Today is Wednesday, September 24th, 2025. We are at Washington City Hall in the council chamber. For our regular meeting, we're starting at 4 o'clock today because we are supporting the Pineview High School homecoming events, which includes a parade that starts at 7 o'clock and goes from west to east along Telegraph. So we want to be able to be there and support one of our great high schools in the community. As always, our meetings are streamed live and archived at washingtoncity.org/meetings, so you can watch them in real time or at your leisure. We appreciate the opportunity that we have to partner with the Interfaith Council. And typically we have a member of the Interfaith Council starting our meetings with prayer. Not seeing that member tonight, I've gone ahead and asked our Finance Director, Brian Brown, to start the meeting off with prayer. Mr. Brown.
Our Father in heaven, we're thankful for this day. We're thankful we could meet here tonight and that we could, and we're thankful for this great city that we live in. We're thankful we could handle the city's business this night. And please guide and direct the council members as we make decisions for the city and all we do. We're thankful for all we have, and we're thankful for all the many blessings we have. And say this in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. I'd like to invite Councilwoman Casperson to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
All rise. Ready? Begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. So in about a month from now, we are going to have a local Cub Scout troop come and do a flag ceremony and lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. And at that time, I may take some liberty to give a little bit of background on that, on our pledge. And the blessing it is for most of us to have gone to an elementary school where we stood and put our hands over our heart and pledged allegiance and all those things. So, but that's for a future day. Now we'll get started with this regular meeting. Council, we do not have need to go to closed session. That said, I will turn to you for a motion to approve the agenda as outlined.
Make that motion to approve our Washington City regular council meeting for September 24th.
You've heard the motion by Councilman Ivey. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Belliston. All in favor?
Aye.
The agenda is approved unanimously. To begin with, we're going to start with a proclamation in regards to domestic violence. And this is something that at least the last going on 4 years that I've been mayor, that we've had the privilege of doing, publicly proclaiming October as Domestic Violence Awareness Month. But in addition to that, not only do we have a council member who serves on that board, but our city has been very involved with resources and support. And this is one of our causes that we really take to heart. So it's my pleasure to introduce and welcome two board members and a staff member with the Dove Center. Those board members are Mary Lloyd Barth and Sarah Gallo, and the staff member is Donna Hardberg. Would you three mind coming forward and just sharing a little bit about with the council and with the community, why this is an important topic and why this is something that we should be aware of. And then after your comments, I'll go ahead and read the official proclamation. Mary Lloyd, would you mind starting for us, or Sarah, or do you want to go first?
I could go first.
Go ahead.
We kind of baited.
Step on forward and then just speak right into that mic, and you can adjust it as you need to.
Okay, I'm so used to this. I really appreciate your time and your effort and including this in Washington City. I really wish it wasn't an issue. And I've worked with this, with domestic violence and sexual assaults, and trying to prevent it for probably 30 or 40 years. And my sadness in that is the statistics aren't changing. And so we have worked not only with our shelter, but with more education available to those that are interested, and especially youth, in developing habits or mannerisms that's respectful to both male and female, and coming from an equal basis. The one thing I do know that has changed and improves is our joint effort with the police. Now we have the lethal assessment that the officers have now to help them better determine whether someone's safe or not. And sadly, that didn't happen in Moab. And if they had done that, it would have been a different outcome. And so, but I just want to thank, all of you, and also all of your effort to help remedy this ongoing problem. So thank you.
Well, we appreciate you. It's certainly a community effort. And if we're not moving the dial, hopefully we're at least holding the dial as much as we possibly can. But our goal is certainly to move that dial back. Thank you, Mary Lloyd.
Thank you.
Sarah.
Thank you, Mayor.
Or should I say Professor?
Oh.
Tell us a little bit about when you're not working on the board, what you do at the university.
Well, I am the program director in dance, and I also teach dance classes.
Wonderful.
This semester, I'm teaching improvisation and modern and working with our dance ensemble. Come to our concert in November.
You let us know when it is.
Okay.
Many of us have daughters. We are very familiar and we appreciate dance. So.
I would also like to thank you, Mayor and City Council, for recognizing October as Domestic Violence Awareness Month. In Utah, 1 in 3 women and 1 in 4 men have or will experience domestic abuse or intimate partner violence in their lifetime, which is a staggering statistic. And so proclamations like this hopefully bring more awareness to our community. Thank you.
Thank you, Sarah. Donna, your boots on the ground there. You've been here before.
Well, thank you.
Lift that mic up just a little bit and,
is that better?
and share your thoughts with us.
Okay. Well, first of all, thank you all. I know you know and aware that Dove has been for 30 years a service provider for domestic violence in Washington and King County. And I want to second and third the motion for thanking each of you, Mayor and council members, for being supportive to us in our growth of services. We're just putting together our annual report, and I thought it was staggering that over 35,000 units of total services has been provided in this last year. And we also provided over 12,500 nights of bed in the shelter for domestic violence and their families who are fleeing and looking for safe harbor. So these are also important. And then I think it was Mary or Sarah alluded to the LAP, the lethality assessment protocol. It has increased in terms of, on one side it's good, more and more people are aware of our services and the resources that we provide. But at the same time, the reality, it's tragic because of the increase. We do have to turn away in terms of people that are fleeing. And that doesn't mean that we just don't help them. We do help resource them to another community partner or get them somewhere safe with another family member in or out of the state. So as we continue to grow with your continued support, we're very excited. And with Kurt's help, quite frankly, I look at it that every team has their champion, like I was telling them, and he's our champion. And so just sort of a shout out to Kurt for that. But one of the things that we're very much looking forward to is last year we were able to increase our transitional housing units with Christy Christie Sweets, named after Christy Manzanera, who actually was murdered on an Alaskan cruise ship and from Santa Clara, Utah. And this year we're very excited because we're getting ready to step up our stage and go through a new capital campaign to double our capacity with our new shelter, and a lot of exciting things that we truly appreciate, like what you do for us. We couldn't do it without you. Thank you.
Well, thank you. This is one of those topics that if people like you didn't step forward and have that vision and provide that resource and have the faith and put the efforts to provide that resource, I mean, who would? And so you make a difference in the community, and we want you to know that we appreciate you, and we remain a partner with you. Councilman Ivey, you serve on that board. What would you add?
You know, just my appreciation for the efforts. The only statistic I would share that stands out to me is that last year we were unable to serve about 45 individuals that needed our service, and we're already at 110 this year. And with recent budget cuts, we need the community to buy in literally into what we're doing, because these people that come to us, they have nowhere else. It's in their last leg, and it's an important service that we provide, or that the Dove Center provides. And I would just encourage people that if they have a trust, or if they have money, donated money, or anything that they would like to give, and know that the return will be exponential through generations, and for a very, very good purpose, to consider donating that to the Dove. We can facilitate all of that, those type of transactions.
I appreciate your comments, Councilman, and I think what hits me that maybe hits a lot in here, sometimes you talk in percentages, but when you talk in individuals, like a number, a 45 or a 110, then you recognize that these are real people with real lives, and so your efforts matter. Before I read the proclamation, I want to recognize our good Chief of Police, Jason Williams. Is there anything you'd like to add to this, Chief? I know how on that tough exterior, how much you care, and we're not fooled, Chief, but just share your thoughts on this sensitive topic.
Just deep appreciation for these ladies. I mean, this is incredible to have the partnership that we have in our community with the Dove Center. It is truly a difficult job dealing with these cases that come forward, but to have the resources and the help when it's needed is incredible. So hats off to these ladies that really give it their all to help these victims in these crimes. So yeah, just it's a tough case to investigate sometimes, but it's gaining that trust and having those resources available that help us move that along. So thank you for that. So
Thank you, Chief. Thank you. Appreciate your participation. At this time, I'll go ahead and read the proclamation, wherever you would like. Whereas it is a basic human right to live a life free from violence and abuse. And whereas domestic violence is a serious problem that occurs in all cultures and communities and does not discriminate by age, gender, social class, race, ethnicity, religious affiliation, or sexual orientation. And whereas 1 in 3 women and 1 in 7 men in Utah will experience intimate partner violence in their lifetime, and that 60 to 75% of families with intimate partner violence have children who are also impacted by the violence. And whereas seniors are also victims of domestic and sexual violence and are part of the most underreported group. And whereas domestic violence related homicides account for about 40% of homicides in Utah, and 80 Utah children will witness the murder or attempted murder of their mother every year. And whereas awareness and intentional collaboration are required to find solutions to abuse and intimate partner violence. And whereas it is the role of local governments to provide for the health, safety, and welfare of its citizens, now therefore I, Cress Staley, along with the Washington City Council, Mayor of the City of Washington, Utah, in partnership with Dove Center, do hereby proclaim October as Domestic Violence Awareness Month. In the City of Washington, we urge all residents to use October as Domestic Violence Awareness Month to learn how they can break the silence and end domestic violence in our community. In witness whereof I have hereunto set my hand and caused to be affixed the seal of the City of Washington City this 24th day of September, 2025. Thank you, board members. Thank you, staff. A few more announcements. As already said, the Pineview Homecoming Parade is at 7 p.m. this evening. So we'll be lining up as the mayor and council at 6:45. On Saturday, September 27th at 3 p.m. here in Heritage Hall, the remodeled old gym, we will have the special needs pageant. You're aware of that. It's called Mr. and Mrs. Superstars. So if you want to have a great time on Saturday afternoon, it's this Saturday at 3 p.m. And they're already down there getting things ready. It's going to be the highlight of the year, I'm sure. And then also next week, October 1st and 2nd, council members, any of you, if you haven't signed up, there's still time to make arrangements if you're interested in the Utah League of Cities and Towns annual meeting. That's in Salt Lake City, Utah. Did I miss anything on announcements? Seeing none, we'll move to the next item on the agenda, which is item 3, declaration of abstentions and conflicts. Any declarations or abstentions this evening? We'll move on to item 4, consent agenda. The consent agenda this evening consists of approval of the minutes from the City Council meeting of September 10th, 2025. I'll entertain a motion on the consent agenda.
So moved.
I have a motion to approve by Councilman Coates,
Second.
second by Councilman Henderson. All in favor?
Aye.
The consent agenda is approved unanimously. Next item of business is a public hearing. Item 5A, this is a public hearing and consideration to approve a resolution for the Joint Agency Regional Water Conservation Plan. Assistant Public Works Director Lester Dalton is back on stage with this item. Mr. Dalton.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Council. I hope everybody has had an opportunity to review the riveting information in this document. This document is unique from a perspective of, for me, for as long as I've been doing this, it's kind of been mundane. Every 5 years we do a new document. It sits on the shelf and collects dust and nobody really ever looks at it again. This document is unique in the state of Utah, as they have made an allowance for us through the Regional Water Supply Agreement and the efforts of all the communities that we're going to adopt this document. All of the communities that are involved with the Regional Water Supply Agreement, we're going to adopt the same document with the same conservation measures, the same conservation goals, and just kind of help reinforce our stance with the Regional Water Supply Agreement and our conservation efforts that we're putting forth across the board. I feel like it's a really good document. It was put together well. It actually gives us some really good guidance to continue moving forward. Washington County is kind of the leader in the state right now with our conservation efforts. It's being recognized at the state and even the national level as to where we're at. So where I'm at today is just asking for approval of this. This will meet our state mandated requirements. We won't have to do this again for another 5 years. Doesn't preclude us from adjusting it as needed along the way. So I'm happy to answer any questions the council may have or provide any information I'm able to.
So,
Councilman Bellison.
as a city, we don't do any more, it's just done regionally then?
That's the intent. We're going to do this once every 5 years at the district level, and then we'll all come together and adopt the same plan again.
Is there a sunset to it, or it just every 5 years we're gonna renew it and
Every
every
five.
city's gonna have input into it?
Correct. Yeah, every 5 years. So currently, the way the statute is, and this is unique, that the state has opened up this opportunity for us, because otherwise, we would be doing our plan, would have been due by the end of next year. This plan, St. George was up to be due this year, and all the other communities are on this same weird 5-year rotation. It's almost a duplication of effort that every water supplier in the state's going through. And everybody's got a little bit different conservation plan as to how they're going to conserve within their community. This kind of helps to unite us as a region down here. So.
Lester, did you feel like you representing Washington City on this felt like everything that you would want our city to have as part of our conservation efforts, do you feel like they were incorporated and that our interests were met along with the other communities in the district?
Yeah, this has been a collaboration of all the communities. We've been discussing this heavily in the TAC meetings. If I'm not mistaken, I believe the last board meeting at the district, they adopted this plan. And now it'll be going through all the different regional water supply members' adoption processes. And I would assume that everyone's going to do similar to what we've done. The state statute requires to have a public hearing as part of this process. So I would assume that the rest of the communities will do it as well. And I know that the district board did a public hearing as well on the document.
Councilman Coates?
No, I just, what do you feel like is the best way? Say we had, I mean, you're asking for approval tonight. It looks like a good report. It looks like there's good stuff in it. I'm just saying, say in the future, in 5 years, if we have a concern about something the district's doing, how does the council get an opinion, I guess, before it's approved? Like, is there a way we can do a work session prior to, like, I mean, they already approved it at
Right.
the water board. It just feels a little like you need to rubber stamp it tonight for us. And I know you're not asking for that, but it looked good, so I didn't have any concerns here. I'm just wondering, in the next go around, does it make sense to have a work session before we, just in case we have some concerns to staff?
Yeah, that probably makes quite a bit of sense. And what I would hope that the council would do is get that information trickled down to me at the TAC level. And we can start incorporating any concerns or beliefs that you guys may have of ways to accommodate that as we're proceeding through, year to year. I'm going to regional water supply agreements quarterly with the TAC meetings. We've got the AAC meetings that occur as well, and then the board meetings behind that. And this has kind of been digested through all of them processes and where we're at. And we just got this final document, it was about a month ago, I believe.
Yeah, about a month ago. I think I did mention a little bit in some of my comments just with announcements, but what was interesting is, so we submit this to the Utah Division of Water Resources, and where each municipality, or even in some cases, districts would do that. It was kind of a novel idea, and it honestly took them off guard that you could have this type of collaboration. But I think what it's a testament to is really and again, I echo your words, Lester, that Washington City's been leading out in Washington County on many of these initiatives. We seem to be on the same page as a county, and so I think it just took a lot of that redundant work away from the individual cities, like filing a joint. But certainly, Councilman, I think, if you have any concerns or additions or subtractions, I think, we take that feedback and swallow it,
Yeah, I guess my only comment is I'd hate to be like, well, say there was something come up and we're like, okay.
I think you're right. And I don't think it would preclude us from doing our own either, but.
Well, I guess my question is, say there was something, there isn't in this report that I see, but I'm just thinking next time that maybe we have a disagreement. I'm glad that we can get through I'm glad we have a good collaboration. going back and forth, and I think these plans are important for us to keep our water conservation. It's just, I guess what I'm saying is I'd like a little more input before it's sitting before us. If that's a year earlier or 6 months, I don't know.
When that comes back up, Lester, will you just
Yeah,
let me know and I'll make sure we get that on a workshop agenda?
Yep.
Because this council's engaged and
And if there are any concerns along the way, if you guys are seeing something, feel free, let me know and we'll bring it to the group. You know, we're trying to show our unity across the board, and I would like to continue that. If any of the communities have got any concerns, everybody's been really open. We've got a good group that we're working with right now, and everybody's kind of on the same page. And I think everyone realizes conservation is a big deal in Washington County as a whole.
Councilman Henderson, anything to add?
No, I read the whole thing and it looks great to me. And, you know, I was just thinking that ultimately this saves each of these communities some tax dollars just because we're not reinventing the wheel, everybody. And so, I mean, I like it. It gets us all on the same page. It saves us a little bit of money in the meantime because we're all, you know, kind of doing the same thing. So I like it. It's a good idea, so.
We've hit you from the one side, we'll hit you from the other now. Councilman Casperson and Councilman Ivey.
To me, it seems very similar to a lot of the discussions we've had about water. And so to me, it's almost just almost like a review of things that we've already discussed. And so there was nothing that stood out to me that was, you know, different than what we've already been talking about in Washington City.
You know, if you remember a year or so ago, we worked on a document for landscape use. We got a template from the Water Conservancy District and we gave us kind of a baseline to start. But with staff provided good information. And I think the council had very productive conversations to make sure that what they were recommending applied directly to the best practices for our citizens. And we made some changes to that document, if you remember. And then after that, you'd see that a lot of other communities kind of was adopting what we had put forward. And so I agree that we're not a template city, but we will be interactive with what's suggested and then we'll make it work for our city. That's what we do here. But I appreciate that. On page 19 of the document, it talks about conservation measures. It lists all the different cities and where they're at in their ordinance right now. And it's not straight across the board. There's some that they're not as restrictive as others are, but the thing that's good part about it is it gives cities the ability to make those determinations. Right now, two of the big things are some people in their county has restricted pool size and they've restricted some golf course water use. Those are the two kind of items that cities differentiate on a little bit. But I just want to say that I think that this is a very important measure. I think that this is a logical approach where we're dedicated to finding new resource, which if you look in the 20-year plan, there's about a 40% new source that we need to find and get. You know, I think we still need to look at the Lake Powell pipeline. That was something that's kind of dried up, so to speak, but it needs to come back. I think that when you consider new resource and the conservation efforts that we've done, I feel like our city's led the way. And I've said from the first conversation on this topic, this isn't something that some people disagree and say, no, there is no water shortage. This is just made up. It's not real. Everyone can get behind it. Everyone can support it. And I think that's why we had such a unified approach and such a great result. But I know that pricing is a concern. I've said for years that I don't necessarily think we have a water problem. I think we have a water funding problem because we live in a very technological age and we could pipe water from the Mississippi if we needed to, but it's the cost to do that is what was a concern. So we want to make sure that we keep the prices low, that we work hard to utilize every effort that we can to encourage the conservation and the proper use. And I think our city has done a really nice job. I got to be honest. I think that we've been reasonable in our efforts and not heavy-handed, which is important. But I look forward to continuing this conversation. The one question I did have, Lester, though, is that every year we're passing on average like 5 to 7 water bills at the legislature for the last several years. They come out every year, and I know that we adapt them into our ordinance every year. that Judge does such a great job helping us to keep those current with our ordinance and stuff. But every 5 years, they will do a review of the bills that were passed during that previous ordinance that was put into place. Is that correct?
Yes.
So we do it in the off years, and then they would do a major overview when it's every 5 years.
Correct.
Okay. All right.
Councilman
I just
Bellson.
have a quick question. So this is just a plan, right? This isn't anything that would have, I guess, legs like the flood control where they are actually able to use this to reach out to different grants or federal
In order for
considerations or
us,
things
yeah, in
like
order
that, or
for us
what? Or is that
to,
still done through the district?
so in order for us to qualify for, if Washington City were to go before the Division of Water Resources and request a grant or request a loan, all of these components, this conservation plan, we have to be up to date and current with it at that time. We have to be in compliance with all the rules. So it does potentially limit us from being able to get state funding if we were to request it. But other than
Right,
that,
with the
it's
flood
not.
control authority where the cities all banded together, that actually allowed us to be more proactive in some of that. I didn't know
Exactly.
if this was going to do the
I
same
think
thing
this is
or
gonna be
grow
real
legs
similar
like
to
that or
that.
not.
I think it's gonna hold some real clout at the state level or any other funding levels to be able to say, hey, we've banded together as a community down here. This isn't just Washington City making a request. I mean, for some conservation funding, whatever it may be, but as an overall community in Washington County, we banded together, and this is Washington County's goals, and we're part of that. That's part of our request. We're not an outlier. You know, I think it'll be beneficial for us as a whole.
I love that feedback, Councilman, because even at that division there, when the director saw that this was a collaborative conservation plan or approach, they just really couldn't imagine that happening in any other part of the state. So I think it is really indicative to the collaboration. And I know and that's why I asked you how involved you were, but I already knew the answer. I know how much you're involved, and as a community, we are seeking those best practices and implementing them within our communities. Council, any additional comments or questions for staff? Councilman Henderson?
I was just gonna say some feedback to the Water District is I really liked how it was pretty short and pretty simple, and the language was easy to understand. You know, sometimes you go to click on these documents and they're 50 or 60 pages, right? And they're just put you to sleep. But this was simple, it was to the point, it was easy to understand, and I really like that. To me, there's a little more power in a simple document that's easy to understand. So good feedback for those guys.
Well said. Thank you, Councilman. Thank you, Lester. At this time, I'm going to open up the public hearing before we take a vote on this resolution. If there's anyone in the audience that would like to come forward and speak to this item, now is your time. I'm officially opening the public hearing on this item. Seeing no one come forward, I will close the public hearing. I will also make note that we did not receive any electronic public comment on this particular item. Council, you have the resolution in your packet. You've read it.
But you know, they wanted to originally go with the same rate that they were getting and just kind of keep adding the 3%. And we said, no, I think we need to update that too. So we got that updated, and this will actually take effect on August 1st of 2026. But anyway, any questions on that? This is the cell tower that's up in the Parks Yard. And they had also wanted to expand their facility and make it larger so they could get more equipment and do more things. But when looking at it, they fit in the one little spot there is up there. There's so many underground things going on that it's just not possible. And so we said, no, can't do that as well.
So Blake, how did you determine the one-time fee? Is that, I'm just curious where that fee comes from and how we determine what their lease agreement is on those.
The 30,000 was part of a kind of a going back and forth thing. I don't know, maybe, and then they threw that out as an option that they could add a signing bonus as well. Because originally they were just talking about just upping the lease, and then the amounts to increase were we went back and forth based on just taking how things had changed with inflation, and saying, okay, we missed some key spots here that have changed over from 2020 to now. How do we make that up? And so we kind of found a rate in there that they were okay with, and we were. So.
Okay, and then that's 3% on every year, right?
Every year, annually, it'll go up 3%.
And then at the end of 30 years, what's the?
At the end of 30 years, either it goes away, or I don't know, maybe we have a second amendment, probably at 25 years, because they seem to want to be 5 years ahead.
I just wondered, I didn't see it, but that's fine. It's 30 years.
What's that?
It's 30 years down the road that where I just wonder, it's just a long lease, which I get.
It is.
And it just isn't, I just wondered if we had anything we could do to reevaluate in 20 years or something. I don't know.
There are some clauses in it that we can, if we're wanting, but most of them are for their failure to either keep the facilities upgraded or do those kind of things. Okay. So it's not a lot of, otherwise we would have to pay for them to find another site.
Yeah.
Things like that. So.
But you're comfortable with the agreement?
Yeah, we kept it very, originally we had talked, one of the caveats was in years past, they'd looked at maybe putting a road through there and wanting to move it. As we've looked at the exit that we have now with exit 12, it just doesn't make a lot of sense traffic-wise to really put that, and the city would have to put that road through, and it would take out part of our parks facilities as well. So it really just the value of that, it's better for us to kind of get this and stick with this.
The tower look like a palm tree like they do in California?
I don't think we can change the look of it.
All right.
You'd want a pine tree,
But I mean,
Pine
if you
tree,
don't,
I like
I guess I can go back and ask for that, but I think it's pretty much what it looks like now. Maybe some Christmas lights, I don't know.
So Blake, quick question.
Yeah.
The current transportation master plan still shows that road going through there. Does this cause that problem if that ever does go through?
No, because we're restarting that process of doing our 5-year update of the transportation plan, and we're going to remove that section from there.
So we're abandoning any connection from 300 over?
Yes.
Okay.
Mayor, I can provide one comparable to the monthly fee. Our family has a tower, and it's well within that height, the new pricing. So just for whatever it's worth,
Any additional questions, comments? Thank you, Blake.
Thank you.
Council, I'll look to you now for a motion on a resolution to approve a communication site ground lease agreement.
So made.
I have a motion by Councilwoman Casperson.
Second.
Second by Councilman Coates. We'll go roll call, beginning with Councilmember Henderson.
Aye.
Coates. Ivy. Casperson.
Aye.
Belliston.
Aye.
That is approved 5-0. Item 6B. This is consideration to approve a resolution amending the Washington City Cemetery fees. Assistant Leisure Services Director Paul Walker will present to the council. Mr. Walker.
Good afternoon, Mayor and Council. Today, we're coming to ask for an increase in some of the rates we were charging at the cemetery. Some of the surrounding cities have increased their rates, and that's kind of created a situation that we want to get away from. The rates are in your packet. I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
Well, I like how it was for non-residents, right? We've kept our residents rate lower and non-residents are higher so that we're not getting people just coming here because of price. And
Yeah, and that's exactly what we're trying to avoid.
I'm always against rate increases, but we have only so many spots. We got to keep it balanced with the other communities,
So Paul, what you're saying is that others are opting to come to Washington because the rates are lower than what our neighbors are?
We've had several people shop around and come back because you can be a resident in another city and come here and pay the non-resident rate, and it's cheaper than paying the resident rate. So that's kind of what we're trying to remedy here.
Why not match the St. George rate?
We're comfortable with these rates. They're the most expensive. We don't need to be the most expensive. We think this is kind of a sweet spot for where we want to be. We're not the
I was
cheapest, but we're not
specifically
the-
referring to the non-resident. I wouldn't want to raise our,
Yeah.
our resident rates, but just the non-resident.
It is cheaper than what St. George you would pay for a non-resident, but we're comfortable with that. It's kind of right in the middle of the pack for the surrounding areas.
So in your briefing document, it says that there's 590 plots available. How long will that last us at current burn?
It's hard to say. It kind of fluctuates year to year. We've sold between 150 and 200 plots a year, so it's 3 to 4 years is probably what we've got remaining with our
Maybe 3.
current cemetery.
And then where?
We're looking at some land in the south end of town, some BLM property. We're kind of working on some things to acquire some of that.
Well, that could take longer than that. So
One thing that I think is interesting to look at, and the reason we want to keep our rates affordable for our residents.
Sure.
Want people coming here because we don't have the space either. So we don't want them coming here because it's cheaper. But we've thrown around a couple of ideas, including potentially not letting people buy plots early. Have to wait until you have a burial to actually, because one of the problems that we have is 600 plots will last us a while if we put someone in them. But if people come and buy 6, 8, 10 plots and then they hold on to them, that creates a situation where we're maintaining all those for years and years. And so we're looking at a lot of different things. When we get closer, if we kept all of our policies exactly the same, we will run out in 3 years. But what we'll like to do is, if we can't find somewhere in the next couple of years, we'll have to clamp down on those policies.
you might buy a little time, but you might only buy a couple of years. So 3 to 5 years is going to be really fast.
The struggle is if we can't get some less expensive land, everybody up here knows how expensive property is in Washington City. It's pretty tough for a city to go out and pay market prices, then bury people forever and pay the maintenance forever at these prices that you're looking at today. And so we're looking for property that is a lot less expensive, that's not at market rate, but we have a couple of ideas.
Maybe I'm totally off base or wrong with this, but is BLM an option? Because my understanding was burials under BLM rules are toxic waste or something crazy like that.
It's an option, but they're not an option to lease. So we were originally looking to not lease it.
Okay.
Long-term lease, but they won't allow a long-term lease for a cemetery. But if they do an RMPP, then it can be used as a cemetery. Actually transfers the property to the city and we can use it for what we want. So that's what we're working on right now.
Which parcel is that?
Can we?
You tell me later.
I'll talk to you later. I don't know that we want to
That's fine.
announce it, but.
And I would think too, just in the spirit of the councilman, these are good questions because the reality is the train's coming down the track and we're about out of track. So would just you and your staff, Paul and Barry, would love to just have an update on those plans. And then also if there are some ways that I can help grease the wheels on some of those land transactions, we can involve our legislative affairs director. Let us work with you on that, just loop us in. And but yeah, this is a conversation we can't kick can down the road very much longer.
Yep, it's coming. Yeah, we're happy to help.
But what you're presenting to us tonight, it makes sense. It's responsive. Council, what other questions or comments do you have on this particular item? Any additional feedback from this side? Any additional feedback from this side? Looks like you got out of here unscathed, Mr. Walker.
Thank you.
Council, I'm going to turn to you now for further discussion and/or a motion on consideration to approve a resolution amending the Washington City cemetery fees as outlined.
Mayor, I'll make that motion.
I have a motion by Councilman Coates to approve the amendment to the cemetery plot fees.
Second.
I have a second by Councilman Ivy. We'll go roll call, beginning with Councilmember Coates.
Aye.
Ivy.
Aye.
Casperson.
Hi.
Belliston. Henderson.
Aye.
That is approved unanimously, 5-0. Thank you for your work on that. Next item on the agenda, item 7 is ordinances. 7A is consideration to approve an ordinance for zone change Z-25-18 to update the PCD zoning located at Telegraph Street and Country Way. The applicant is American Land Consulting, and our Community Development Director, Eldon Gibb, will present to the council on this item. Mr. Gibb.
Thank you, Mayor, Council. This is a unique project here, as it's a joint effort with Sittla, Coal West, and Washington City to provide a more affordable housing product in this developed area. You can see it on the map here. It's just off the renamed Country Way, Landfill Road, going up and over the hill there. This map is currently the approved PCD, and this is what they are proposing, and we'll go through those changes right now. Proposal is asking to reduce the developed footprint by 53.21 acres. They're asking to go from 91.49 acres to 38.28 acres. This reduction will allow the civil improvements to cost much less as the quantity in those improvements are being reduced. With this change, the open space area will increase 53.21 acres from the current 97.35 to 150.56. Proposal is asking to increase density to increase 85 units. Currently, they're approved for 135 units and they're asking for 220 units. The lot sizes for this development are not exactly configured, but they will be approximately 4,500 square feet to 5,500 square foot in size. There's an updated setback plan, which includes a front setback of 15 feet to the residential unit and 20 feet to the garage, a rear setback of 10 feet, and the side setbacks of 5 feet. They're all also asking for a roadway elimination. The approved PCD shows a secondary roadway servicing this subdivision from Telegraph Street, creating an intersection at Coral Canyon Boulevard. This secondary roadway crosses a floodway, which would require a bridge to be built. Removing this secondary roadway will significantly reduce development costs, allowing the homes to be built in this area to be more affordable. The applicant is proposing to remove the secondary roadway and provide access to this subdivision from Country Way. On this current PCD plan here, you can see this secondary access, that looping road is what they're asking to remove. On the left-hand side of the screen, showing the proposed plan with the one access off of Country Way. Staff supports the proposal in reducing the developable land to 38.28 acres and increasing the open space. Staff supports increasing the density unit count, 85 units, along with the updated setback plan, and staff supports removing the secondary roadway. Commission reviewed this request on September 17th, 2025, and unanimously recommended approval of this zone change based on the following findings and conditions noted in the staff report. That concludes the staff report. I'm happy to answer any questions you may have at this time.
Council, questions for Eldon?
Yeah, Eldon, there'll still be two accesses. It just won't be the access they proposed. There'll only be two accesses off Country Way, not just for clarification, correct?
Correct, good comments.
Country Way, I'll still give them two outlets as well,
North and south.
north and south.
Yeah, so, but there'll only be one connection to Telegraph Road. So,
Council, further questions for Eldon?
Discussion on the roadway and what improvements would need to take place on that. Do you, how far along the road would you have to make changes on Countryway?
Great questions there. That'll be if this is approved tonight and moves forwards to preliminary plat, it'd be a joint effort with city staff, Public Works, and finding the plan that works best there. I don't think we have an answer at this time, but the next step would be the deciding factor on that.
John, do you have anything to add to that on Countryway? Or Blake?
Up here, Eldon. So if this gets approved, this land use authority handles it from here on out, correct?
Correct.
It's only proposed as single family?
Correct. Single-family detached homes, 4,500 square foot lots and above.
Blake?
Yeah, we have, the discussions that we've had have been that they need to take care of their side, just like you would with any of the roads there. There hasn't been further whether that would be, and I know Jeremy's had a few discussions of whether that would be all the way to Telegraph or just along the frontage of the blue area on there. I'm not sure. Did you have any discussion on that?
I'm not sure we've gotten that far in the discussion, but
Yeah.
typically they would be required to do to the edge of their property.
Yeah.
And we haven't had any discussion that changes that at this point.
We just want to eliminate the bridge across the road because of the extreme costs. That's for that. And
That's really the only change that we're eliminating. And there was an entire secondary road that fed that bridge.
and then the additional units to help for some of those costs along that. So, okay.
Thanks, Blake.
So Mayor, I look at this as these are what we're looking for more affordable housing for the area. At least we got the road name changed before they brought it up, right? Now it's Countryway instead of Landfill Road. As long as they realize there is a landfill, as close as you can be to a landfill. We're already seeing problems.
Remind me of that, Councilman, when I need it.
I'm gonna keep reminding it because we have to make it clear. And I know we can't control the real estate agents, but that landfill has a 90-plus year left life in it. So it's not going away anytime soon. So everyone knows for the record, that landfill is staying there for a long time.
It's very well managed, especially the board is very well directed. Mr. Red.
I don't really have a question. I think this is a really good project. It's a great collaboration between a developer, a property owner, and the city. And I think it's a model for what can happen. But it is a little bit of a tricky spot, and it has some challenges. But it's a great place for single, detached, affordable homes. I think it's a really good project that the city can be really proud of. So it should be a model for what can happen in the future.
I agree. I did have one question, and I know that, I love what you said, Jeremy and Councilman. This is a model, and what I like about it is you've got three parties each giving what they can in order to make this an area where first-time and lower-income home buyers can actually have a roof over their head that they own. So I love what we're doing. I think another point that as you look at this, another positive to it is it also retains a lot of open space. So it does continue to protect and beautify a lot of that community. I know that with the goal of achieving attainable, affordable housing, pick your term, we're not looking at a lot of amenities, but I did have the question of, it looks like the trail is still planned to connect from our current Cottonwood Wash Trail and then over to our trail system that would tie in along Telegraph. I'm seeing nods there. And so that would be kind of the one amenity other than just part of the Coral Canyon, Greater Coral Canyon amenities. Is that right? And frankly, nearby city amenities. Before we get down to a vote on this, I think I'd like to I see Greg MacArthur here with the Trust Lands Administration, and I see representation with American Land Consulting. If you'd just come forward and just share a little bit of your thoughts to the council, and then if they have any questions for you, then you're here and available. Mr. MacArthur. And the representative from the engineering firm. Thank you both.
While he comes up,
Councilman.
with what Councilman Bellison said, that it will just go to the land authority, what if there's like a development agreement, would that come back to the council?
So the planning commission does not have authority to pass contracts or agreements on behalf of the council, but they are the land use authority as required by the legislature within Washington City. So things like plats and zone changes, but it would be the council that sees development agreements.
Good clarification. Mr. MacArthur.
Thank you, Mayor. Mayor, Council, thanks for having us tonight. So I think the comment that I would make is just a thank you to the city of Washington. We realize what the city is doing on this PCD is significant to make this happen, and these aren't easy things to do. So, you know, the governor approached our office about a year and a half ago and wanted us to see what we could do as one of the largest landowners in the state to help with affordable housing. This is one of the projects that we targeted. And I think everybody really is giving. CITLA, or the Trust Lands Administration, has a contractual contract with our development partner here, and CITLA is accepting 1/2 of what we typically receive, which isn't the highest of what we typically receive, but we're taking it down by half of what we're contractually obligated to receive on this parcel as the landowner for our land.
Can you talk a little bit about your development partner and what they're doing?
Sure. So we have a development partner. The development partner is Cole West. Cole West is also taking, from what they typically receive, they're taking 2/3 less, or just 1/3 of what they typically receive on the development they're doing here. So they're giving a significant amount as well. And that 1/3 is just to cover their costs, basically just administrative costs. And they're also taking on a big responsibility because they're bringing in their capital to build all of this with a very low percentage now to be received. And so it really is these groups coming together to give significant things to make affordable housing happen here. So I think it's a really good model, and it's really exciting, and we really appreciate what the city's doing to partner on this and look at the ways we can do it. So thank you very much.
Well, and it's been a pleasure, I think, from us as a city to be involved in this. And this has been a few years with you and with the developer that we've worked toward this, and you know, to have partners like that and really what I think this council is looking to do is benefit the community. We talk often about our kids and grandkids being able to live here, and it's projects like this with collaboration in the right place that allow us to do that. Your feedback, and then anything that the engineer would like to add.
Yeah, we're really excited. You know, one thing I really like about this, I got to make a comment, is that trail that connects to this is quite possibly the best trail. If you haven't walked it, you're going through that little canyon that comes down and ties in. It's incredible.
It's my typical Saturday morning run, and I just do the dirt road right now.
It's awesome. So it's a really fun one. It's a great amenity.
It really is, and it's quick to get to Sullivan. Take you a little longer to get back.
Yeah, it will.
Can I ask you, is there plans to do these kind of projects, you know, throughout the county, working with CITLA and the land?
We are. We're currently working on multiple projects for affordable housing. We have one moving in Laverican City right now. We have one moving in Ivins right now, where we're working with the municipalities. And I got to say that what Washington City is doing right now is exemplary. We're not having the same give or partnership that the other cities aren't currently to this point haven't done what you guys have done. So we really appreciate what you're doing.
Well said, Mr. MacArthur. Councilman Ivey, you have some comments.
So you attribute that to conversations that we've had for quite a while about this. I know we've talked about council members, previous council members about utilizing state and even federal land for this purpose. I think it's good common sense. I think it's a great partnership. And I guess my own perspective is that I noticed that your partners who take same property do like 6%. And you know, I think that's what we need to do. Come together and collaborate, find ways, because a lot of families that can't afford homes, they don't build a generational wealth they have to have just to see that they have a I appreciate your efforts. I hope this isn't the only project that we do in Washington. As we, look further and wider, hopefully we can do it again.
Yeah, agreed.
Thank you. And just state your name.
Yeah, thanks, Mayor. Thanks, Council. I'm Austin Chappell. I'm with American Land Consulting. My colleague Adam Allen usually covers these. I'm just kind of filling in. He was unavailable tonight, so don't have a whole lot more to add other than I'm just here for some technical support with Sitla and Cole West on the engineering side. So I'm just looking forward to moving this project forward. So,
Any technical questions? Just thank you for being here. I did have a question, and this stems from a conversation Councilman Bellison and I had last week, just kind of in preparation. And it seems that I heard or read that the deed restriction on home ownership was 80%. Do you remember what that, and I think Councilman, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but I think you might have said something, well, why isn't it 90 or more, if that's the goal?
I called Greg earlier today
Okay.
and had kind of the same conversation, but it's not part of our packet, so I didn't want to bring it up tonight, but I'm sure that'll be.
But if you just, any insight you're comfortable sharing in public?
Yeah, happy to comment on this. So I think what you've seen and what you've looked at is some of the common things that happen on affordable housing throughout the state is that deed restriction. We have not placed a deed restriction on this property yet. I talked to the our developer partner today, and we're happy to have conversations to make sure that this moves forward as an affordable housing project. So it hasn't been determined yet, but we know what we want as an outcome.
Yes.
And I share everyone's concern here of let's get the most of these in the affordable housing, people that need this.
Fair.
The one thing to note on that is there are a lot of laws and precedent and things to make it so you have to be very careful on how you do that. And that's why certain ways are followed. And we'll make sure we follow those and we move into where the most people that can get affordable housing will get it in this project.
And I think it goes without saying with our community is it's so attractive for people that live in the northern part of the state to come to the southern part of the state. Many would love to have a second home, but really what we want people that provide for this community to be able to live here in this community. So I don't want them to be vacation rentals and second homes. I just, I guess maybe a few rentals here and there, but there's just something about the dignity of owning the home, the four walls and the roof over your head. And so hopefully with that goal in mind, you'll find the sweet spot. And again, just, my hat's off to Cole West and as a development partner. I mean, that has been, in an environment over the last few years, when the housing crisis has heated up, there's been a lot of pointing fingers kind of back and forth. And to me, a situation like this is where we know Cole West. They've been a partner with us in the city, and for them to be able to come in as taking that moral community responsibility with, our municipal said. So kudos. Any final thoughts before we vote on this?
Just to add to what you're saying, I feel like there's a lot of people in our community that really do have good income and good wages, but just the cost of the housing market is so high. And so I really like this. I like that they're not attached, I like that they're single family homes that people can live in, that they're not living, their living space is not connected to someone else. And so I really like this.
Last word, Mayor. Just make some really nice places for those kids to play. Some really nice playgrounds, keep them busy and have safe things for them to do there. It's a beautiful area. It's a unique area. But we're looking forward to having those families and knowing that they have that ability to have home ownership. So thank you.
Well said.
They
Thank
have
you,
a really
gentlemen.
steep trail they're gonna have in their backyard. And a park down the street.
That was mine, just pushing rocks down the hill, Did I say?
An activity.
Thank you both. Council, I turn to you now for further discussion or a motion on this item.
Mayor, I'll make a motion, we approve zone change Z-25-18 to update the P-City zone located at Telegraph Street and Country Way with the findings and conditions provided by staff.
I've got a motion by Councilman Coates, second by Councilwoman Casperson. Going roll call, beginning with Councilmember Ivy. Casperson. Belliston. Henderson. Coates.
Aye.
Staley. Aye. Thank you.
6-0.
That passes off unanimously, and we'll let the recorder do the math on that. The next item of business is appointment. This is consideration to confirm the appointment of a member to the Planning Commission. And let me just say, we had some fantastic candidates who had the courage and took the initiative to put their name forward. Even a candidate that I reached out to individually and asked to put their name forward while traveling overseas. And so I certainly really appreciate that. The city ordinance reads that the mayor appoints members of the Planning Commission with the advice and consent of the council. And so, as we've done in the past, I brought, at times in the past, I brought each of these candidates forward. We gave them some time in front of the council to present. And again, we had 4 very well qualified candidates. I took the advice of the council after those, and I will be bringing forward a name for your consenting vote. What I will say is that while one of those candidates will be appointed, it will be an appointment as the alternate planning commissioner, which votes only if there is a voting member absent. And this appointment will be to fill the remainder of the alternate term, which ends December 31st, 2025, and then would be reappointment based on how that's working out. What I will say is that I do have other current and future needs for qualified individuals. So I do have some other things in mind, at least for some of the applicants, and really appreciate their genuine concern and ability for this council. But the advice that I got from the council that I will take is that we appoint Mr. James Ure to fulfill the remainder of the alternate Planning Commission term. And council, I would take that to you for a motion and a vote of consent on that mayoral appointment.
Mayor, I'll make the motion to confirm the appointment of James Ure to be the alternate member of the Planning Commission.
You've heard the motion by Councilman Ivy.
Second.
Second by Councilman Coates. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That's approved unanimously. At this time, we'll move on to report of officers from assigned committees. And as the lineup hasn't changed, Councilman Belliston, you are lead off on my left.
Good today. Kind of quiet.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilman Henderson.
Well, Mayor, since it's kind of a Pine View kind of a night, I will tell you that this weekend was my 40th Pine View Class of 85 reunion. Rachel and I went there, and it was, a lot of the kids I graduated with, I see them on a regular basis, the ones that have stayed here. There was a few I hadn't seen for 40 years, and it was nice to catch up with them and learn a little bit about what they do for a living and what their families are doing. And so anyway, kind of fun. We're one of the original Panther groups.
I was going to say, how many classes precede you in Panther lore?
So I went to Dixie High School my sophomore year, and then they built Pine View, and we went over there for our junior year.
Number 2.
So second graduating class. Yeah.
Cool.
Good. A lot of good people doing some good things. So everybody looks older. But I was, well, yeah, you said it. But I was surprised at how good the majority of the people looked after 40 years. Some of the guys still have their guns. I lost my guns a long time ago, but some of the guys have been working out. So anyway, it was good. So thanks.
Councilman Coates.
Only thing I have to say is I was 3 years old when he graduated high school, so.
Perspective.
I have nothing to report tonight. It's been pretty. So I will say that the Power Board, there's some things that are coming up that council will see here shortly based on projects they're looking at going into, and they're kind of looking at different things through UAMPS and kind of like a merger, I guess, is like, because like right now we all go by from our own projects in percentage, and they're looking at some areas to do more of a conjoined thing, but it's kind of up in the air. So it's I mean, I think it would help us, but it might hurt other people who have really good rates and we have okay rates, right? We do the best we can, but we're a relatively new power company. But the power board's still working through that, what they want to decide, but it'll be coming shortly to the council. So that's all I have.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilman Ivy.
MPO did not meet, and we'll have a good update next time on our trip to the League of Cities and Towns. But Mayor, I'd wonder if I could just take just 1 second to propose something to the council that I've been kind of thinking about.
Take the time you need, Councilman.
We haven't done a general plan amendment since 2017, and I don't know that we need to do a full review, but I do think that it would be important for us to do kind of a look at the properties and see how they've built out since that time with commercial and residential, and see if it's exposed any additional commercial properties that we could identify and bring into the general plan as commercial general planned properties, just to make sure that we're not missing anything that could be a tax-based revenue source for the city.
You know, I'm gonna take this. I'm gonna let you keep your time, but I'm gonna be opportunistic here. I like this idea, and I think it gives us an opportunity to introduce to the council and the community our newly hired city planner, Mr. Sebastian. If you'd come forward and tell us your name, tell us a little bit about yourself, and then give us a response to Councilman Ivy's question about a spot general plan update and identifying commercial parcels. Go ahead, speak right into that mic.
I'm a new planner from San Diego. Got hired last week. And
this is called a baptism by fire, my friend.
Yeah, I've been here for 3 days and like St. George. It's a great city.
Washington is a wonderful city.
I'm currently living in a motel until my lease for my apartment starts, but yeah.
You're going to be great. Tell us your full name, give us a little bit of your background, and tell us what you've been hired to do.
Yeah, so I'm from San Diego, hired as a city planner. In terms of my responsibilities, it includes meeting with members of the community in terms of their developmental needs. Sure, interacting with you guys as well.
Sure.
Yeah, it's sort of my responsibility.
Wonderful. What's your background with education, with experience?
Yeah, so I went to UC Santa Barbara
Okay.
for college, then studied environmental studies there with that kind of emphasis on planning. I like history as well, history and philosophy.
Okay.
And yeah, so I did an internship in planning in California, and now I'm here.
You think you could help us with looking at that general plan, seeing how it's built out since the last update, and maybe spot identifying some opportunities, potential opportunities with commercial?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I'm very good at analyzing documents, kind of data entry stuff. And
Perfect.
I look forward to
Perfect. We'll get you on a future workshop to bring some of that information back and let the council discuss it. The benefit you have is you have a very experienced and well-versed council in terms of land use, and specifically with land use right here in this community. So that's awesome. Any input, council, for our new city planner? Any words of wisdom or questions?
I'd just say congratulations and forward to working with you.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here. I like it. It's very open committee. It's very friendly and stuff. And I just really like everyone I've met so far. So I'm sure I'll get to know you guys more.
You're figuring this out already. Councilman Henderson.
Just like to say welcome. We look forward to working with you, and you're going to learn a lot from this gentleman over here. He's great. We love him. So
bugging him past 3 days. Hopefully he's not getting too annoyed, but
Yeah.
we'll see. We'll see. All right.
Hey, don't let it fool you. He was the same way when he came.
Thank you. Welcome. Councilman Ivy, finish your council report there.
No, I just hope he's not a Chargers fan, because they beat my Broncos last week. I'm not real happy about that. Oh, San Francisco. Okay, so
We're getting along just fine then.
no, we appreciate you being here. You know, we know that we have a busy city, and customer service is one of our priorities, to be very reactive and proactive and to get things through. So we appreciate you being here.
Anything else, Councilman Ivy?
No, I just look forward to the conversation that we started. I think there's value in that.
Councilwoman Casperson.
I just want to quickly share my appreciation to Chief Williams and our police officers here in Washington City. I just started teaching at this school that my kids attend, and one of the girls was like, I think police officers are scary. And so I knew that if I had her meet Chief Williams and a lot of the police officers here, I could change her mind really quickly. And so we went to the police officers, or we went to the police station with Chief Williams today and got to see some of the stuff that he does and the police officers that they do. And it was just a really good experience. And the kids came back and they were all sharing with the other kids their experience. And then the little girl was like, I thought they would be scary, but then when I got to know them, I, realized how nice they are. And so it was just a really good experience because last week we studied the Constitution, and this week, he talked about how they, defend the Constitution and our laws and stand between the dark and, they're a defender of the light. And so it was a really good experience, and I appreciate the time that he took to help kids in our community, realize the good impact that our police officers have here.
Well said. I love that. And I don't have anything to add. Thank you for your reports. Next item, City Manager Report. Jeremy.
Thank you, Mayor. I don't have a lot to add, but I'm going to channel my inner Thad, and I'm going to give you a little history. This is from Wikipedia. Everyone knows how supportive I am of Pineview High School. Pineview did open in 1983. The interesting part is the names that were the other finalists rather than Pineview were Cotton Mill High School, Panorama, Mill Creek, and Red Hills. So we could have been Cotton Mill High School. That seems like a Staley recommendation that didn't pass.
Uncle George would have actually called it the Cotton Factory. He would have been upset with Cotton.
There you go.
I have an op-ed from my dad that year.
Wait a second, there's no attorney.
Just a minute, where he wrote to the Spectrum and proposed the name to be Color Country Sun Devils. Didn't even make it on the list, though, apparently.
Leading right into my next, the nickname Panthers was also selected above other finalists, which included Minotaurs, Trojans, Knights, and Pumas. So I think they did a pretty good job. I think Pineview Panthers works out just fine. They picked it right. 1984. That's all I have, Mayor. Thank you.
Thad doesn't even need to use Wikipedia. He just has all these facts in his brain.
Well, don't ask the girls that you help how they feel about city managers, because they still are very scary. So unlike police officers.
If they ask me if city managers are scary, I'll say yes.
Yes. Stay far away.
Wikithadia.
So just make sure you know the game, Friday night, 7 o'clock, Pineview versus Hurricane, and Hurricane has a good team this year.
All right. Thank you, City Manager. We do not have need for closed session tonight, so at this time I'll call for a motion to adjourn the meeting.
So moved.
Motion by Councilman Coates, second by Councilman Bellison. All in favor? Aye. That passed unanimously. We stand adjourned.